Hey, our girl did it. Naomi finally gonna make some history when she goes into Saudi Arabia for their first ever women's championship match. Naomi versus Bayley. And that was set up from last night's Naomi versus Carmella match. We're gonna get to that in a little bit and why that's being done now and not at WrestleMania. So on one hand, you're thinking, did they take one big moment for Naomi, which was going to be WrestleMania, what many would say would be a bigger moment, and they substituted that for a smaller moment, make some history in Saudi Arabia, first ever title match for the women, and now they're going to do a third elimination chamber to set up Bayley's next opponent for Mania. You could absolutely look at it that way. Even I'm kind of looking at it that way. Everything's up in the air right now. Who challenges Bayley for that championship at Mania then? Sasha Banks gonna come back and win that elimination chamber? Or are they giving it to the Southern Belle Lacey Evans again? Because we saw again, now they're trying to repump up Lacey Evans with that exhilarating one-on-one sit-down interview with Renee Young last night. We'll talk about that as well. But we don't know the future. Nobody knows with the old man in Stamford. He's constantly changing his mind second by second. But what we do know, whether we like it or not, whether we think it's a consolation big moment prize or not, Naomi is about to make history this upcoming Thursday afternoon when she takes on Bayley for the first ever women's championship match in that region. Pretty big. You know, these are the type of situations that we can't downplay. These first evers, yes, we all agree. We can't wait for the time where we stop talking about how it's the first time ever. That we all progress to a place where there are no more first times because they've been done. But the bottom line is somebody has to set that pavement first. Somebody has to set down the foundation. Naomi and Bayley will be that first championship match. I think that's really cool. And anytime you can make history, anytime you can be the first ever at doing something, deserves a round of applause. And our girl Naomi finally getting some spotlight. Now what does that say for Mania? We don't know. We could be getting amplified in the opposite way in the future. I see myself doing that actually. Because with the old man in Stamford, I always am. But for now, I'm just happy that Naomi got a moment, man. Make some history. People like Naomi need to start doing that more. Deserving? I hate that word. Naomi deserves that. Awesome to see her face where it belongs. Making some damn history. Now, before I start off with SmackDown for February 21st, 2020, I first want to say all apologies on YouTube's behalf. Not the Amplified man, I had no control over it, but I did put up an impromptu vid yesterday. Most of you probably didn't even know that, because the tube was more broke than ever before yesterday. And I know, that's saying something, because YouTube is constantly broke. But yesterday, from the jump, they were not delivering that vid to most sub boxes. Frustrating. Obviously for the content creator, but I'm thinking about you guys that look forward to BC Amplified videos, and when I put one out, the tube isn't even notifying you. So, and then on top of that, we had issues with comments, and just everything was just broke. For yours truly, anyway. And this comes just days after you guys were telling me that you couldn't even play my video. It kept rebuffering. And I told you guys, somebody made a little joke. Maybe it's just a conspiracy theory against my channel, right? Maybe the tube has it out for me. But I told you for the longest time, no, they do. They have it out for me. I haven't been the easiest to work with. I haven't been the easiest partner for the tube. But now I'm starting to see like, man, I mean, every little issue you can think of trying to hold the channel back. It ain't happening. My peeps are gonna get their videos. That's why I always tell you guys, always stay notified and subscribed, but even then, still check back on the regular. Because you never know when the tube is gonna try to shade us as the amplified unit. Always check the channel several times a week. Because I'm always pumping out impromptus as well, like yesterday, where we talk about the AEW 5-year plan, and you might be shocked about what Cody's talking about already. Switching nights to one of Vince's main roster nights, baby. That's going to be interesting going forward. And if Cody has anything to say about it and do about it, which he does, he's the EVP, you could be seeing Dynamite switch nights in the near future. Now for SmackDown. Let's start off right from the top with an 8-man schmaz match, because we don't see enough 8-man schmaz matches in WWE. Usos, New Day, Dirt Sheet, Rude, and Dolph. There's your 8-man setup. Pre-match, the Usos and the New Day are in one another's face because Big E said that the Usos are 6-time champs, but we, the New Day, we're 7-time champs. So Big E says, and I quote, that means we're better than you. So it looks like they're teasing another Usos versus New Day Tag Team Championship match. Look, we all know they put on great matches together. The problem is, we know that because they have faced each other 1,564 times. That's an issue. That's way too many times. We no longer need to see the same episode of our favorite television show. Right? I mean, you want to see a different episode every week. If it's a really good episode, you'll rewatch it maybe once or twice more. But you wouldn't watch it 1,564 times. I mean, think back. That's like watching the Legion of Doom, or the Road Warriors, whatever you want to call them. But when they were in WWF at the time, they were the Legion of Doom, taking on Demolition 1,564 times over the course of 7 years. Think about that. The Rockers versus the Hart Foundation over the course of 7 years, taking on each other 1,564 times. You'd be okay with that? No! That would be unacceptable back in the day. Why are we seeing it here? Because they're running out of things. They're not changing anything up. Everything is stale and redundant in this company. And for 7 years, it seems, at least 5 plus, it's the Usos and the New Day. And somebody wants to say, but basically, they put on good matches, basically, so no harm, no foul, basically. No, harm, foul. Who cares if they put on a good match? I could see a good match with Beth Bosoms and Natalie Knockers down at the local bingo hall. I could see good wrestling anywhere. I don't need to see the same people in there all the time because I've already seen that episode of that show. This is like watching the same episode of your favorite show over and over and over and over, and each time they put in a different scene, or they take out a scene. But it's the same episode. You've seen everything you can out of these two teams. And there's people that are okay with it. And I ask, how are you watching my channel? Because you know, or you should know, my standards are up higher. After years of watching that, I need something new. And that's why I say, if you gotta break up the New Day, you gotta break them up. If Big E has to go for a singles career, then that's fine. He deserves it. When Kofi was champ, it was okay to leave him separate out of the New Day. No, he was constantly in 6-man tags throwing pancakes as their champion. I know, a lot of people like the New Day. I don't want to see him split up, BC. That's worse for business. No, it could be good if done correctly. But my problem is, if they don't split up, we're stuck with this. It's the same shit. They haven't had a legit tag division in years. And I'm proving that because we're seeing the Usos and the New Day again. They're running out of things. And every time the New Day has a different feud or two, and the Usos have a different feud or two, and it runs its course, which is only 2 months tops, it's right back to each other. Do we do this another 5 years? I'm asking you guys. Do we do this another 5 years? Because I don't see any end in sight. They don't want to break up the New Day. They still bring in some money. Usos, I don't think the old man thinks that if they split them up, they'll have anything individually. So do we just see this for because I don't see them going anywhere or stop wrestling in the next 5 years, nor should they, but without any actual creativity, without a plan, as Cody would tell, a 5-year plan, if you will, where do we see ourselves in 5 years? I'm being honest and I have the answer. In 5 years, you'll be getting the New Day versus the Usos. That's good wrestling, so I'm okay with it. It's the same shit. The same moves. It's the same. Is a sequence or two going to be different? I know I spent a lot of time on that, but that's what they're teasing. We're going to get another match on it. And they keep saying, like the last 5 times, oh, one more time. And then it's one more time. One more. Okay, the second to the last of the almost last time. Okay, 3 more times. Okay, 2 more times and that's it, man. Okay, this is it. And now this is going to be it. They literally said that. Oh, if you got a problem with that, let's do it one more time, one of the teams said. They literally said the words, let's do it one more time. Come on, we're not fools, man. We'll get it 7 more times this year alone. As for this 8-man schmaz, the match went roughly 10 minutes and ended with a simplistic super kick to Rude. Rude ate the pin here, took the loss. And the Usos actually picked up the win for their foursome, them and the New Day. At least it wasn't a fruit roll-up, right? The little simplistic roll-up that seems to pin everybody these days. But just a super kick? That 8-man tag just ended on a super kick? But you know what? At that point, who cares? At least it was over. You see, I thought it was a good way to start the show, man. Solid 8-man action. Oh, man, that's awesome. If I could just have a low bar standard like you, man. Backstage, Tucker confronts Mandy Rose and lets her know how much she broke Otis's heart. The entire crowd during this backstage segment, they were chanting Otis's name in unison. Real loud, you couldn't even hear Sonya Deville when she was trying to speak. That shows you, whether those suits and ties like it or not, doesn't matter. This dude's getting over, and he's getting over quick. Interesting to see where they go with that character going forward, and I really hope they don't screw it up like every other character under Vince McMahon's thumb. Dolph Ziggler was about to leave the arena at the same time that Mandy was leaving the arena, and Dolph offered Mandy if she wanted to join him and take a ride together, I guess. Otis comes out of nowhere, he overhears this, and now his heart is broken twice in 1 week as he watches Mandy leave with Dolph. So, I don't know. It is semi-interesting, man. I do have to say. What's not interesting at all, the opposite of interesting, is the Renee Young one-on-one sit-down interview with Lacey Evans last night. This thing was so fucking pointless. Literally just 90 seconds long and 2 questions were asked and answered. Why did you used to call everyone a nasty? And number 2, what's next for Lacey? That's what this whole sit-down, one-on-one interview was for. They made it dramatic. They put it backstage. They brought in Renee Young. They're pulling out all the stops for Lacey Evans. Why? What is so special about Lacey? Why would you not dedicate that time in the past 5 years at least for people like Naomi and Asuka and Sasha? Lacey gets all of this. She just had a title opportunity, a big title match with Bayley. Literally go to the front of the line. Literally prove yourself. No. It's going to be the Charlotte type of treatment now. Even though Charlotte's not near the title for the time being, we're still going to promote her like a superstar. Why? The fuck? First, she skips over everybody in NXT. She skipped over everybody, just got catapulted to the main roster, and then it's Lacey, Lacey, Lacey. I'm just asking why. What the hell? And I know the answer, obviously, right? It's all rhetorical. She bypassed everybody in NXT. She got to the main roster with the quickness when most fans in NXT didn't even know her name. She bypasses everyone, gets to the main roster, and gets catapulted to title opportunities. Sit-down interviews with Renee Young. Big storylines already. How? Why? Because Vincent Kennedy McMahon saw her and goes, wow, you're one of those blonde bombshells I love. I'm gonna push you to the moon. You saw what I did with Alexa and Charlotte. I even did wonders for Carmella. You see the work I did in the past with Sable and Tori Wilson? I can go on and on. That's exactly what Vince loves. That's a younger version of what Linda McMahon was back in the day when he met her. So it warms a special place in his heart. Everyone else that actually has talent, move aside. And I'm not even throwing shade. Lacey's got some talent, but enough to bypass everybody in her NXT class when she did? BS. Enough to have this many top storylines, sit-down interviews with Renee Young, title shots, and opportunities? Hell no! She ain't that good! And here we are starting off this review after Naomi's been there for years and years, and I'm finally talking about, hey, she gets a moment! She's gonna make a little bit of history finally! It is sad when we gotta fucking celebrate Naomi finally getting a big moment. And she's been there for years. Lacey Evans is talking about already having another title opportunity if she wins a Elimination Chamber match. So it appears they're going to have a third Elimination Chamber. That's too much. 2 is enough. You want to start off with 1, you want to end with 1. You're going to overexpose it if you have 3. That's my issue. Trust me, I understand. BC, will Raw ladies get 1? Why can't the SmackDown ladies get 1? I understand fairness, but the world's not fair. And sometimes fair isn't just right. It's just not. You have to call the audible and do what's needed. What's needed is you don't want to overexpose this pay-per-view or that match. 3 Elimination Chambers in one night? Damn, dude. That means everybody has to talk to one another. All the ladies and the dudes in their Elimination Chamber and talk about what spots are being performed by who. Because you can't just have the same thing going on. And there's only so many things you can do in an Elimination Chamber match. You got to get really freaking creative. So that was the answer to question number 2. What's next for Lacey? I'm going to go to the back of the line, she says. I understand I lost against Beth. I'm going to go to the back of the line, which is not the back of the... You're in the Elimination Chamber match. You just got to win one match. Yes, but because I got to beat 5 girls, it's going to be hard. Oh, no. Former Marine, right? Vince is going to shove that in our face a million times. She's a Marine. She can handle anything. And answer number 1, all right, what was the question? Oh, why did you used to call everyone a nasty, right? Well, they had to ask that. You know why? Because nobody believed in her face turn. Because there was no reasoning behind it. You guys remember she was a heel one week, and basically the next week, she was in tears giving hoorah speeches. She was all of a sudden a face. This company does it time and time again. They just turn people without any meaning or reasoning. No story is told as to why the character totally changed. And the fan base isn't that as much dumb as Vince McMahon thought they were, because most of us said we ain't buying into it. I was so happy. Even who I called a sheep fan, they said, yeah, we're not on board. That was awesome. And it's because people like me on this platform in these videos told you guys. One week she's calling everyone a nasty. The next week she's telling everyone to go for your dreams and conquer your goals. If you're going to make me believe it, you have to give me reason. You have to tell the right story. Why is she turning face? Why is she giving hoorah speeches? You tried to stuff it all in 1 week. No. So they had no choice but to sit Renee Young down and ask, well, people want to see this side of you, but they need to know, why did you call him a nasty, right? They're trying to stuff that away to the wayside. Put it underneath the rug. Nobody will remember this nasty thing. Nobody will remember the heel run that Lacey had. So they do that by trying to call out why she called everyone a nasty. And she's like, oh, that's just what we do in the South. And then she's like, but in all seriousness, it was wrong of me. And that bully side of me is done and over. And that's why there's a new me. I'm like, what are we watching? What is going on? This type of stuff could work if it's people we actually want to see in these roles. Why is it so hard for that old man in Stanford to take the people that we really enjoy watching and that we want to see thrusted to the spotlight and into those main events? Why is it so hard to put those people into those positions that he's going to push? No, he takes people that he knows. He knows are either undeserving at this point or we just don't want to see. And he pulls out all the stops to try to get them to where he wants it to be. But it's the fans that ultimately end up dictating everything. You own the company, you can do what you want, but we're ultimately going to cheer that or shit on it. There's a reason we don't get behind Roman in unison, but we all get behind Drew McIntyre in unison. There's a reason we don't get behind Charlotte Flair and Lacey Evans in unison, and there's a reason we do get behind Asuka or Ember or Naomi in unison. There's reasoning. Understand your fans, Vince. You don't even care. Or you just don't even know. Maybe you're oblivious. Anyway, that was a one-on-one sit-down with Lacey Evans. Again, I say my quote, absolutely fucking pointless. We ended hour number 1 with a Symphony of Destruction tag team match. Shinsuke and Cesaro versus Braun Strowman and Elias. Instruments all around this ring. I'm not just talking about like a guitar or a microphone stand. I'm talking like big old... Is it a drum? Yeah, I guess. It's one of those huge like marching band drums. They had a piano out there. One of those like cellos. Those gigantic, like the size of Braun Strowman. He actually brought it out. I don't even know. I don't know what these instruments are called, but there was everything you could think of out there. There was even a huge giant gong. Everything. So I'm thinking right off the bat, this is another one of those just WWE gimmick matches. We're all going to be rolling our eyes to the back of our dome pieces. We're all going to be wondering, what the hell are we watching? And we're all going to be hoping that nobody we love or nobody that we respect their opinion, nobody is going to walk through the door and see what we're watching. It's like if you're fucking 10 years old and you're watching porn or some shit, you know, oh, I hope mom and dad don't come in here. You know what I mean? You don't want anybody you're close to walking in and say, what are you watching, dude? What is this? Oh, it's a Symphony of Destruction match. Oh, man. I was just like, what? I don't even... Please stop this. But I got to admit, the match was entertaining. Or at least I was entertained. Right? I mean, because for a gimmick match, for a concept so ridiculous, at least it was physical. At least it was 10 times better than a Halloween how you doing match where a pumpkin is being smashed over someone's dome piece. Or a Thanksgiving Wahoo match where somebody's hitting you with a low blow with a turkey leg. Or a breakfast buffet brawl match where somebody's shoving pancakes down your throat. They actually used all of these instruments in pretty badass form. I saw some bruises, some welts. Elias was bleeding from the back. The finish was badass. Elias did a Macho Man flying elbow from the top rope all the way to the outside through, I believe, Cesaro through the table. Or no, was that Shinsuke? No, I think Shinsuke got the piano. One of them got the flying elbow. And then at the same time, or at least right after, Braun Strowman hit a power slam from the commentary table onto a piano with either Sheamus or Cesaro, whichever one didn't get the flying elbow. Almost went through the piano. Cesaro at one point got the whole drum put across his dome piece through his body. Shinsuke went through the gong. Braun Strowman got double suplexed through the whole big cello or whatever the hell that monstrosity was. It kept me engaged for the over 10 minutes that this match was on. 15 at least, right? Kept me engaged, kept me entertained. If you would have told me at the start of that match with all of those instruments that this was going to be something I would speak highly about, I would have been like, yeah, that's a good joke you got there. This dude's got jokes. But no. I'm sitting here this morning, looking into this cam, telling you guys I was thoroughly entertained. If you weren't, that's cool. I understand. Vince McMahon has gimmick matched you into a corner where you're just kind of crumbled and trying to hide right now, right? You're in such shock and trauma. But damn, I'll be damned if that didn't keep my attention, if I wasn't entertained. I truly was. So there's no way I can go into the review and start talking about how bad it was just because of the gimmick. The 4 dudes went out there and they absolutely destroyed one another. I liked it. Doesn't mean I need to see that again anytime in the near future. But for that, I liked it. It's a good way to end hour number 1. You know, they're not starting the show with it. They're not ending with it. It's in the middle of the show. Yeah. Now, for hour number 2, we kicked off with a moment of bliss. Special guest, the Bella Twins. Now, I'm going to go ahead and address the elephant in the room right from the jump. We all avoided one hell of an awkward situation here. Because if this was 1 week later, John Cena returns to SmackDown next week. You would have had Nikki Bella and John Cena in the same building. Way too soon, way too awkward. We all know what's going on personally with them. And Nikki Bella getting engaged and having a baby with this new person. Somebody she did Dancing with the Stars with, I guess. And then John Cena has a new girlfriend who we believe is now engaged as well. We all know that they both wish one another happiness, but we know there's still a lot of unresolved issues. Could you just imagine if they both returned on the same night? I just find it ironic that they both returned 1 week from one another. You gotta believe that was kind of planned out. Because an announcement like the Hall of Fame like this for the Bellas, I think Vince would have liked that right after Super Showdown. But I think John Cena was like, yeah. Or maybe Nikki Bella was like, nah. We can do the week before, or we can do the week after. Anyway, for a moment of bliss, this was all just for the Bellas to announce that they are the next Hall of Fame inductees. This is a hot topic. I know a lot of you guys feel they do not belong in the Hall of Fame. There's some of you that believe they do belong in the Hall of Fame. I'll tell you where I stand. I don't hide behind my thought process. I believe down the road, Bella Twins should be in the Hall of Fame. I think they did enough, not just in the ring, but outside. Even though I'm not a fan of what they do on the outside with Total Bellas and Total Divas, they tried at least to not just promote themselves, but to pump up the WWE. I've seen so many interviews where they really do put the WWE in a good light. They don't just promote themselves. And that's why I say, even though I think the Total Divas and the Total Bellas show, I think it hurts professional wrestling, actually. But what they tried to do, what Vince McMahon asked them to do from the very beginning, was to do these extracurricular shows and activities and pump up WWE. So as far as what they were asked to do, they did it. And in WWE, they did have a legit solid fan base. They did have memories and moments. They were there for years. I have no problem with the Bellas going into the Hall of Fame. My only issue is, it's this soon. My issue is that lately the Bellas have been getting a little bit of extra media publicity, right? Both twins are pregnant at the same time. Nikki Bella's engaged and about to get married. They have this new project going on. And I think Vince is trying to capitalize on this. And he's capitalizing it with by any means necessary. He's willing to pimp out his own Hall of Fame. He's willing to put the legitimacy of the Hall of Fame. And I know the legitimacy of the Hall of Fame, by the way, has been in question every year with so many individuals, but he's willing to do it yet again by the Bellas going in this soon. And that's been my issue with a lot of people going into the Hall of Fame. Not that they didn't belong there necessarily, but they're going in way too soon. 2020? The Bellas are already going into the Hall of Fame. You're telling me the Bellas were that good? The Bellas were that important to WWE that almost immediately after their retirement, within just a couple of years, right? Actually, I believe they just wrestled last year. So it's not even a couple of years. They just wrestled last year, I believe. A few times. And you're telling me they need to go in immediately? Months later? That's my issue. I have no problem with them going in. I do feel they did a lot for WWE. I personally think it was in the wrong direction, but that's because I don't think these soap opera type shows on the E! Network, I don't think they help the business. But I understand Vince McMahon thinks that any type of publicity on the outside of WWE is going to help. So no matter what, they were doing what they were told up front. They enjoyed it. They had the spin-off in every single interview. Okay. Going a little overboard. But a lot of interviews, they spoke nothing but high praise of WWE. So in that aspect, they did do a lot. This is really soon. Really soon, guys. In fact, if there's a line, they're on the way too soon side of things, side of the tracks. Couple years, we can start talking. I say 5 at least, but a couple years we can start talking. Immediately? I'm not sold that you've seen them finished in the ring. I know about the neck injuries, trust me, I know about the injuries. But that didn't stop them from coming back again and again a couple of times already. And if they want to come back for one more match, pro wrestling is the one business I can think of that if you have a severe injury, you could still work around it. You could literally have a 7-minute match and just throw punches, kicks, and body slam somebody 3 times. You don't even have to take a bump in pro wrestling. I've seen people come back in their 60s, 70s, and not take a bump and have a 10-minute match. So I'm not even sold that we've seen the last of the Bellas in the ring. And that's what I mean. Way too soon. I know I'm going a little bit longer on that, but that's a hot topic I've been seeing, and you guys haven't heard my words yet on it. That's where I feel. I don't mind them going into the Hall of Fame, just not now. But it's not my company. I don't get to decide. Vince thinks he can capitalize on some media publicity. No matter how small it is, he's jumping on it. We'll get them when they're pregnant, too. It's going to be a huge story. Speaking of, the Bellas talk about their double pregnancy. Debride then comes out with little baby Birdie for his match with Heath Slater, and he's got his baby in his hand. So it's a baby party. Woo! I don't know. I'm not a big fan of kids. You guys know that, man. They're so annoying. My goodness. I go anywhere with kids and I want to like run the other way. A lot of my friends that have kids already, man, I'm just like, BC, we got to make plans next Friday. You're in town. And I'm like, yeah, I'll get back to you. I'm like, I have to check up on how many kids they, 3, 4 kids now. All right. I'm no longer in town, Stacy. Now, when I have my own, obviously, if I ever choose to do such, it's not just my decision, obviously. If I ever do, I'm hoping I like mine at least. But I'm not a big fan of watching everybody, you know what I mean? And then you got to do the thing on social media and everything when your friends have a baby. You go, oh my God, they're so beautiful. It looks like a baby to me. I can, maybe it's just a guy thing, maybe it's just a BC thing, but it just looks like a baby. I'm not seeing. I understand. It's a miracle, you know, and oh my God, every baby is beautiful because look how it was created. It's a baby, you know, and I'm just looking at it like, all right, you had sex, you had a kid. What do you want me to do? That's how it works, you know. Pandas have them. The fucking the rats have little ratty cubs, right? What do you call? Where are we going with this? I don't even know. To me, it's not a big thing. You have a fucking kid, and for the next 18 years of your life, they're living in your fucking house, eating your food, living rent-free, unless you charge them after the age of 15. That's what I'd be fucking doing. You're gonna get a job at 13. You're gonna get a job at 11 like I did. And then after 18, then you still gotta fucking... Anyway, yeah. I'm just not all gun-ho like everybody is about fucking kids. And, you know, these days, there's kids having kids. There's people that are... People I grew up with. 15, 16 years old having kids. What the fuck? You don't start really maturing until your early 20s. Start maturing. Think about that. These kids are having kids. Fuck it, hey, man. We just went into a whole nother fucking conversation. I apologize. Where was I even at? Oh yeah, Moment of Bliss. And that's how that ended. Enough with that. We move on. Debride versus Heath Slater. Within 3 minutes, Slater is looking up at the lights as a running knee wins it for Debride. Drew Gulak was on commentary playing the role of coach, trainer, mentor, cheerleader, dad. We don't know what Drew Gulak was doing. He was talking about like holes in Daniel Bryan's game for Heath Slater. But he wasn't speaking of any real holes. This whole thing was just, it's like, okay, well, if you're there to really tell us what the holes are, this could be interesting. Drew Gulak could be like a wealth of knowledge when it comes to pro wrestling. We know he is backstage. But, okay, let's hear you. What's the holes in his game, right? This could be interesting. He's just like, there's holes in his game. Yeah, Heath, get off the top rope. Don't go up there. Then you're just a manager. Then what are you doing at commentary? This thing was annoying to me. And on top of that, what is this leading to? Are you, forget what I think, are you going to really care about Drew Gulak managing Heath Slater? Is that going to be exhilarating television? What's it doing for Heath? What's it doing for Drew? I know what you're going to tell me. VC, just wait, man, have patience and let it play out. I've seen these type of situations a million times before. They don't know what to do with one guy, so they make him his little fucking trainer/mentor type guy. It leads to nothing other than a match between them that nobody cares about. Sorry to spoil it for you. Up next, Naomi took on Carmella. This was the actual main event because the end segment was Goldberg. So the main event was Naomi versus Carmella. The winner takes on Bayley at Super Showdown in a history-making match because it'll be the first ever championship match in Saudi. Bayley was at ringside for this, but halfway through she got ejected. I blinked. I guess she did something, but I blinked. I must have missed it. I didn't see her actually do anything. She was by Naomi's side though, or was that Carmella? I don't fucking know. But she was by somebody's side, so it's possible she laid somebody out. But the ref said, you're gone. So Bayley was there for a moment, and then she was gone. Now, when it comes to Naomi and Carmella, these two seriously busted their asses for over 15 minutes in this match, the better part of 20 minutes. By the end, they were gassed. There were several noticeable botches, and they became a bit erratic. I'll fully admit that. Toward the end of this match, they were absolutely going a little haywire. But the fact that they kept up that pace for over 15 minutes and didn't take a move off. They kept up a fast pace for over 15 minutes like they didn't take a move off. If that doesn't deserve mad props, then nothing does. That is absolute props. They knew what they wanted to do. They didn't want anybody to lose any interest at any second, and they kept up that pace. They didn't just wing it. They didn't just throw some punches, some kicks, I'll roll you up 17 times. They took chances. They did things that were going to be a bit of a risk. And they just went full throttle. Not taking a minute. And normally I say that's an issue. Take a minute, slow it down. You guys know. But in this scenario, it tells the frantic story. I'm done with it. I want Bayley. I deserve it. No, you don't. I deserve it. And I'm done with you. And you just saw like a franticness in it. And that they really felt like desperate to try to do whatever is necessary. I felt character-wise that each one of them thought that at any moment the other could finish them. 1, 2, 3. And their moment slips away. And that's the franticness. I don't know. I just had that vibe. And I felt that pace for that match belonged. So amidst the botches and a little bit of erraticness and them being totally gassed, I think the overall structure of it was justified. And I give Naomi and Carmella the utmost props, man. Carmella, 2 weeks in a row, has been really trying to up her game. Last week, I said it. That was her best match probably in her career. This match didn't equal that level. There was some sloppiness here. But damn, what they did, I can't help but be proud of. And when it was all said and done, Naomi defeated Carmella. And it'll now be Naomi versus Bayley at Super Showdown. History will be made. And again, we all wait for the day where we don't have to talk about history being made. And we reached that progress in the world. But we haven't yet. And we still have to talk about these type of history-making moments and matches. And I'll be damned if I talked about it with every other female that made history. You're damn right I'm going to talk about it with Naomi. I hate the word deserve, but she deserves this moment. I don't know what this means for Mania, because I would have loved to see her up at Mania. But if this means somehow we get the Sasha and Bayley at Mania, I'm down with that. Because you know how I feel about Sasha, and Sasha needs her big moment. I do feel that would be extremely rushed. Something like Bayley and Sasha should have a multi-month build. If Sasha just gets into the Elimination Chamber, wins the match, and then there's just a little bit of friction, it's going to take away a little bit, but let's not fool ourselves. It's still Sasha Banks in a championship match at Mania. If you tell me I could get a moment where Sasha's hoisting that championship at Mania, goosebumps, baby. And Naomi gets a big fucking moment in Saudi, hey. But again, the moment the championship match takes a back seat, the fact that she gets to make history, her name will forever be in those books. My girl Naomi deserves that shit, man. Even if you're not a Naomi fan, that's cool. To say she hasn't earned and deserved that moment, to make a little bit of history after all these years, you're fooling yourself, not the Ant-Man. Much love to Naomi, that's awesome. Goldberg returns to SmackDown in the final segment. The Firefly Funhouse appears. Bray is just hysterical. He's doing some freaking artwork on his wall, or whatever, construction on his wall, whatever he's doing. Oh, Goldberg, how you doing? You know, he's just oblivious and just on cloud nine. I love it. And then a switch, the blink of an eye, snap of a finger, he can just turn into that devious Bray, man. Just the character is awesome. He's trying to introduce all of his friends to Goldberg. And you have Huskus the Pig. You have everybody. Who is it? Abigail? Everybody's out there, including Ramblin' Rabbit. Still alive, still kicking on his 24th life. And Ramblin's like, I'm a big fan. I love you, Goldberg. And Bray gets this huge fucking... What is that? The big mallet or whatever it is. And he's like, traitor. And he's about to end Ramblin' Rabbit's 24th life. But Ramblin's able to duck away. And Bray puts down the mallet, and he looks at Goldberg, or at least through the Firefly Funhouse lens, and he tells Goldberg, there's one more person that wants to meet you. And the lights go out, and when they go back on, Goldberg has a smirk, and Goldberg's like, the Fiend, and he's behind me. And he turns around, and the Fiend is right there. The Fiend doesn't jump him. He literally wants to meet him, like Bray said, like a little face-to-face. And after a little bit of a stare down, the crowd's really into it. Goldberg levels him with a spear. Bray doesn't stay down. The Fiend, he's digging his fist into the mat. Almost like, not he's enjoying it, but he's used to that pain. And he looks up at Goldberg like, yeah. And Goldberg's like, all right, get up. I'll do it again. And when the Fiend goes to get up, the lights go back out. When they're on, Fiend's gone. Goldberg's got a little bit of a smirk, like, I got your number. I defeated Brock Lesnar in 90 seconds. Brock Lesnar. I can beat you in 60 seconds if need be. That's what Brock. Goldberg's mentality is. You could tell that's in his face. And as he's smirking, you hear Bray Wyatt or the Fiend's laughter. That diabolical laughter. So that gets the Goldberg smirking a little less, because now he's laughing at you. I liked it. And Goldberg goes over as his music plays, and he's like, all right, you know, that was our first introduction. This Thursday, it's on. It was short, sweet, to the point. Nothing huge here. My creative dome piece would have had a lot more going on. I would have overbooked it a little bit, but not overexposed the match, if that makes sense. That was a little shorter than I would have liked. But it set the point. There's not much you could do here. This match is based on what is already sitting in their lap. And that is what happened in the past. This is Goldberg and this is The Fiend. Right? The names themselves have sold this match. This is like an exhibition match more than it is a championship match. This is just Fiend Goldberg. That's the story. Right? Nobody's expecting any other layer to it. So this was just an added bonus in my eyes. When you heard Goldberg Fiend, you thought that was it. You didn't even think they were going to go face-to-face until they meet at Super Showdown. So that's what I mean. Some matches are just the names, the match set up. That's the story. That can only work once in a while because you guys know I am story-driven and character-driven. I need larger-than-life characters, and I need a good story to be told in order to care about a match. But sometimes, when you just hear names like Goldberg and Fiend, that's the story. So, some people are all pissed off about the segment last night. What the fuck? It was an added bonus in my eyes. The main event was Naomi and Carmella anyway. That was the added fucking bonus. You got Goldberg back. You got to hear that music. You got to see the Berg. You got to see the Fiend and Goldberg face to face. You got to see a badass spear. Fiend's playing games with them. They're both kind of smirking and laughing. Now we go into Thursday. It's a bonus. Relax. There's 1,000,001 things to hate about WWE or not like or dislike, but I'll tell you one thing. That's not one of them. Those are small fish in a bigger pond that we have to worry about with WWE. But that was SmackDown for the 21st of February, 2020. Yeah, a mixed bag. I mean, it was not a horrible show, but it's hard pressed to say it was good. You know, I mean, this is a go-home show of sorts to a mini pay-per-view, special event. You know, you expect and would like a lot more. But with the old man in Stanford, you're not getting that, man. You know, he's worried about the XFL. So we all had to lower our standards and accept mediocrity, just like we had to have done in 2019, 2018, 2017. You know? We're waiting for business to truly change. We've seen a little bit here and there of change and better things, but we still see a lot of the same old, same old. And you saw a lot of that with last night's SmackDown. But the Symphony of Destruction match, I was entertained. Otis in that storyline has me at least interested. Naomi getting her big fucking moment is just awesome. I didn't mind the Goldberg Fiend segment. So, you know, there's things in this show that absolutely were entertaining. So, yeah. Now, what are we doing? What is this? Saturday? Oh, yeah. So that's it, man. Tuesday, I will definitely see you for the Raw review and reaction. I hope to have an impromptu in the next couple of days, possibly, though. But again, the tube is not really sending a lot of these videos to sub boxes. So you gotta, even if you are subbed and notified, you gotta keep checking the chan because it's the tube, man. That's what they're doing. They're broke. The Hitman, continue kicking your weekend's ass, guys, and I will see you when I see you. Think, be, live. Amplified. Check ya. See ya.